Okay, we're going to try to do something a little outrageous. We're going to start at the Casper for just a little check-in overnight for one of the kids and try to do this class. We couldn't do it yesterday because for the same reason, but Mirza Shem, we'll see how it goes now. See how long we can go, actually. Okay, let's bring up the text. We're learning the Maamar HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, which is on the concept of Rosh Chodesh. So the Maamar says like this. Chodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodeshim. This is talking about obviously the month of Nisan, which we're today's Adar, getting ready, getting ready for Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So it says, V'isa b'medrash, the medrash teaches us as follows. Hurva b'pirish Rashi, Reish Parsh Bereishit is the famous medrash. Rashi brings down the beginning of the Torah. Rebbe Yitzchak teaches us the Torah truly should have started from Parshas Boi in middle, where it talks about the first mitzvah, which is the mitzvah of the new month. So why does the Torah start all the way back in Bereishit? It's to show the strength, so to say, of Hashem's actions. He lets them know that Hashem created the world, famous Rashi, and therefore Hashem is able to give the world Eretz Yisrael to whoever he wants. Anyone who says Eretz Yisrael, you're listed, you're stolen, it's not your land, it's God's land, he created the world, he can do whatever he wants. Up here, you do it like it says, that God let them be temporarily there, the other nations, and when it's decided that the nations now should give up the land to the Jewish people, because Eretz Yisrael was created for the Jewish people, like the world was created for the Jewish people. Up here, you do it based on what's known. So we know there's a rule that says like this, that even if one has there's a question that's brought down, that's not necessarily some individual question, but the question is brought down in Torah, like a havamina, an initial thinking that we have, let's say in the Talmud, or in a question, that we say this is the question, but we have an answer. But if the question is a question, and therefore the question itself is also part of Torah, meaning to say that the question has a place in Torah. Even when we have the answer, there's still a concept that the Torah should have started with the month of Nisan, with HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. The only thing is that we have an answer why we didn't. But the question teaches us that there's a svara, there's something about this that's eternal. So Yishleimer, so therefore the Torah is eternal, so the question is eternal. Yishleimer. This is what the Medrash says, which is part of Torah, which is Torah of truth, and every part of it is true. The Torah is teaching us that Torah started from the new month, which is the Chodesh Hazeh Lachem, which is the first mitzvah of the Torah. It refers specifically Shemash and Medrash who and it's getting pretty loud, so I may just quit the class, but it was quiet before. Not only that, the Medrash doesn't just say maybe we should have started with a Chodesh Hazeh. The Medrash says the Torah should not have started with anything else but the first mitzvah of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. The Lashon Loi Elamayir Shuli the Lashon Shuli Kuva, that he's coming to say Loi Hayitzarach means there's no other choice. They're coming to Ma'akiv, they're coming to take away any other possibility of starting it from the earlier point. And that's also according to the truth. There is a component of the Torah that starts with the first mitzvah. As the Rebbe Rashab says, that the Rebbe Rashab starts and says that really, in certain ways, the Torah starts with HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. So the Rebbe Rashab explains that what? That the Pnimius, now we're going to go to this moment to explain, is what's Pnimius, what's Chassidus, what does the Torah mean? And we're going to get to the essential question of what's purpose of creation. Purpose of creation is for Eretz Yisrael, for Torah Yisrael, and therefore the essence of everything, even though we're going to start recording the Torah from Bereishit, which is about 1,300 years before Matan Torah, or before Yitzis Mitzrayim, but that period of the 1,300 years until HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem is only in order for us to get to HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. So there's no specific kavanah, there's no intention for the beginning of Torah, so to say, on its own. It's in itself a part of the HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. So about today's Kashas, we can explain this and connect this. Up here, you feel best that's known. The Tibuch, based on days, is Manabriya. We know there's a disagreement, and how we could put together this disagreement between the two opinions of when was the world created. We're just now, like I said, in Koyach Adar. So Chafei Adar was a few days ago. So we have Das Rabbi Lazar, which is Tishrei. When the first day of creation, the 25th day of El, man was created on the 6th day. We celebrate Rosh Hashanah on the day man was created. Nivra Olam, V'das Rabbi Yeshua. The other opinion is the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua. Nisan, Chafei Adar, Nivra Olam. That the world was created not on the 25th of Adar, but the 25th of Elul, which means man was created on the 1st of Tishrei. But that the world was created on the 25th of Adar, and it will now be created on the 1st of Nisan. So how do we put these two opinions together? It's either or. Was the world created on the 25th of El, or was the world created on the 25th of Adar? So how can you say that we could put the two ideas together? So the answer is between Pinimis and Chitzanis. Kavana, that's the intention, and what's the actual? The actual world was created, if we put the two opinions together, was in Tishrei, meaning 25th of Adar leading of Elul leading into Tishrei. But where is the thought? Not just the time of the thought, but where is the thought connected to? Is the thought connected to Tishrei, or the motivation for creation was a Nisan thought? And therefore, the 25th of Nisan is where the thought, and what 25th of Nisan represents, but the thought to create the world was a Nisan. Like I'm saying, it's not just a time question. When did God think about it? He happened to have thought about 25th of Nisan. It's connected to what Nisan means. That what Nisan means is what really motivated the creation. But God wanted the creation to be in such a way that we should lead up to Matan Torah. We're not born. We weren't created into Matan Torah. We created with the world and its darkness and a flood and after the flood and the peoples and the Avim of Yitzchak Yaakov. You lead us Mitzrayim, Yitzis Mitzrayim to lead to Yitzis Mitzrayim and Matan Torah. And that was the Kavanah, was the concept of Nisan, and that's represented by Nisan, Matan Torah, Yiddishkeit, Eretz Yisrael. But how does it play out? It has to start with Tishrei and then develop. And we know that although the actual, a lot of times we have a thought. What do we want? We have a thought. Now, in order for the thought to be enhanced, we have what's called the props of the thought, the Chassidus. So the Chassidus of the thought would be the setting up of the world in the 25th of El. But we know that the Machshav is the inner thought. HaKavan v'Atachlis, which is the bottom line, the real intention, which is Nisan, Yitzis Mitzrayim, Matan Torah, Am Yisrael, going towards Eretz Yisrael. Then the action is after the thought, or built on the thought. Turns out, the very fact that the actual world was created on Tishrei, according to the opinion of Rabbi Lazar, is the external. That's the actual. But what's the real intention of creation? The kavanah of the creation is Nisan, is the concept of Nisan. This Maamar is going to explore what's that mean? That there's the kavanah, which is Nisan, the kavanah which is Tishrei. The avoid of Nisan, the avoid of Tishrei. And how we put it together, and how it's Lo Yitzarach, and how that question is still, although the world starts with Bereishit, there's still the concept of Lo Yitzarach, the idea of Torah, which is HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. Adar so when we get last call to Torah. The very fact that the Torah starts with Bereishit Torah, Abriya b'Poel shows the Tishrei, which is with the creation, that how it was actually with the Chassidus. That's the Chassidus. I don't want to say Chassidus of Torah, but Chassidus at the beginning of Torah. What was the inner intention of why the Torah starts from there? As HaChodesh HaZeh Lachem, which is the concept of Nisan. Again, Hashem, I'm not going to be here. Tomorrow I'll be able to be in my office to give a proper class. Let's do one more sif, try to get through one more paragraph, and then we'll stop the class. What does this all mean? What is the difference? And we say that the kavanah is Nisan and the action is Tishrei. We say the difference between Tishrei and Nisan are on two things. Lehem. What are these two things? Tishrei represents avodah, the awakening from below. And that's why it's the month of tshuva. And that's why also the letters are backwards. Tav, Shin, Resh. Last letter, the second to last letter, third to last letter, which is Tav, Shin, Resh, going up from below up, which is a Srusal Tata, awakening from below. Hamshacha ben Nisan, that's above. That's why the Jewish people were redeemed from Golos. God took us out of Golos. An awakening from above. The Jewish people weren't worthy. God revealed himself and took them out of Egypt. And that's why rain, which is we're going to see is something that connected to Avodah. Rain comes from what happens below. Environment, the physical environment of the below affect the rain. There's an interesting note. We once did a study a few years ago that in the years of war, there's more rain because of the explosions, causes that there should be more rain. The Rebbe says, that's what we bless for rain on Shmini Atzeres, which is Tishrei. B'brichas Tal and dew, which is not connected to Avodah, is Pesach, which is Nisan. Like I said, rain comes from certain efforts and doings of below. The Tal dew comes on its own. Tal lo me'etzer. That's why Esav, who's not expected to do Avodah, what is his bracha from Yaakov, his father? The Tal. So why does he get a bracha for Tal? Because Esav's not expected to do Avodah. Esav gets without Avodah because he's not the Kavanah. The Kavanah is only connected to Avodah. If Esav is part of the story, he's not in a way part of the Kavanah. Therefore, it's not dependent on his Avodah. And therefore, he gets the bracha of Tal. Another difference is that another difference is, and it's connected to each other, that because Tishrei represents Avodah of Lamata, of below, therefore it all comes in limitations, big with boundaries and limitations and measurements. And that's how things are internally, because Avodah is eternal. When you do with Yasrus Tata, you bring yourself within, and you're limited. That's the root of nature. And that's why he says Nisan. He says Reish Chadashim. Like it says, Rosh means the head of the whole body. He says, that's the limitless. Shlomaimos is above the world. Asheret and Habinis is miracle, which is above Teva. So Tishrei is Teva, avoid the Tachtoinim, Mido Gvul. Nisan is Lamaylam Teva, Soiv Kolamim, Bechitzonius, and Mata, and Mata. And believe Gvul. And no limit, because it's coming from above, there's no limit. That's why creation was in Tishrei. Redemption was in Nisan. The world was created according to the laws of nature. The exit of Egypt, the whole point of Mitzvah is to get out of the limitations. And how do we get out of our limitations? Because there's a revelation from above, out of our koiches, above our avodah. Obviously, the mind is going to go into combining the two. That's why Islam Yitzarach. The idea is not to just be bombed from above with spirituality, which is the idea of Harki Gigas, God's put a mountain spiritually over the Jewish people, and therefore they said Nasim and Nishma. The idea is that we have both avodah from within, and then we get the Mu'mayla Lamata. But if you look at them separately, it's Pesach is all about the Mu'mayla Lamata. The Shnei Yanamelu Tulum Zebezeh. Never says they're connected. Who Meduda Umugbelas So because it comes from below, therefore it's measured and therefore it's limited. So that's why you can because something that comes from above like Nisan, it's not measured. It's not about our avodas. Therefore it comes to limitations. Now we have to understand better. Maya Nisan. So here the question is, if you want to say that the concept of miracles above, beyond the Veda, without limitations, is all about believable. So then why does it say the world should start from that? The world's all about the world. For that, we'll get continued and go The best Hashem tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Sorry about the complications of the class and the noise. Hopefully someone heard something. The Yom Tov.